Free the land. This has been with your Black Agenda Report, a morning shot for November 12, 2010. The Washington Post reports the leaders of President Obama's Deficit Commission sparked criticism from both sides of the political aisle Wednesday for proposing broad cuts to federal programs. To meet that goal of cutting more than $3.8 trillion from deficits over the next decade, former Clinton White House Chief of Staff Erskine Bowles and former Senator Alan K. Simpson are proposing cuts to needed social programs, including the tax deduction for mortgage interest claimed by many homeowners, the tax-free treatment of employer-provided health insurance, and the practice of letting retirees claim Social Security benefits starting at age 62. The blueprint would raise the early retirement age to 64 and the standard retirement age to 69 for today's toddlers. But the National Commission on Fiscal Responsibility and Reform has also come under attack for its unusual approach to staffing. Many of its employees aren't employed by the panel at all. Instead, about 1 in 4 commission staffers is paid by outside entities, many of which have strong ideological points of view about how to tackle the deficit. For example, the salaries of 2 senior staffers, Mark Goldwyn and Edward Lorenzen, are paid by private groups that have previously advocated cuts to entitlement programs. Lorenzen is paid by the Peter G. Peterson Foundation, while Goldwyn is paid by the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, which is also partly funded by the Peterson Group. Kennelly and other liberal-leaning critics say they are particularly troubled by the influence of Peterson, a billionaire and former investment banker who began a $6 million campaign this week urging lawmakers to cut the deficit. Peterson, co-founder of the Blackstone Group Investment Fund, paid for a series of town hall meetings this year that included participation by Deficit Commission members. He also funds the Fiscal Times, a digital news organization that focuses on federal debt issues. And, according to the Denver Post, the Obama administration has decided to begin publicly walking away from what it once touted as key deadlines in the war in Afghanistan in an effort to de-emphasize President Barack Obama's pledge that he begin withdrawing U.S. forces in July 2011, administration and military officials have told McClatchy newspapers. The new policy will be on display next week during a conference of NATO countries in Lisbon, Portugal, where the administration hopes to introduce its timeline that calls for the withdrawal of U.S. and NATO forces from Afghanistan by 2014, the year when Afghan President Hamid Karzai once said Afghan troops could provide their own security. Three senior officials told McClatchy, along with others speaking anonymously, as a matter of policy. So far, the U.S. Central Command, the military division that oversees Afghanistan operations, hasn't submitted any kind of withdrawal order for forces for the July deadline, 2 of those officials said. The Communist Party of India, Maoist, released a statement on October 31st stating, quote, U.S. President Barack Obama will be coming to our country on November 6th. The Comprador rulers of India are busy laying red carpet to welcome him and trying to beautify Mumbai and Delhi. This is a great insult to democracy. Democracy-loving, peace-loving, and patriotic people of our country. U.S. imperialism, which has been plundering the poor countries across the world, suppressing the oppressed nationalities, pushing the notorious thugs and dictators into power, bullying those countries who wouldn't cooperate, looting oil and minerals and all other natural wealth and sources, for this, going to any extent, is the #1 enemy of the world's people. Its leader, Barack Obama, is such a person whom the entire humanity must hate. End quote. Damn! Those are just the first 3 sentences of the press release. The Maoists, who Prime Minister of India referred to as, quote, the single biggest internal security challenge ever faced by our country, are leading a primarily peasant-based movement in central and eastern India. According to the Asia Times Online, quote, in essence, the core of the Naxalite rebellion can be seen as a response by many of India's poor against a perceived expropriation of their natural resources by the state. India's, quote, coal mafias largely control the industry, notorious for its poor infrastructure and corruption, while union leaders, mine managers, and politicians routinely skim substantial profits from the state-owned coal companies. Meanwhile, the poor, largely tribal communities that make up much of the heart of India's coal country see precious little of the profits while suffering substantial environmental destruction and feeling the effects of public corruption. End quote. At present, the Maoists control around 92,000 square miles of the country. Solidarity. This has been signing off with your Black Agenda Report Morning Shot, saying, free the land.